¿Qué onda, señores? ¿Cómo están? Buenas noches, bienvenidos a este juevesito de chelas, amigos, y un invitado especial el día de hoy. Quiero agradecerles a todos los que están conectados desde hace ratito. Se nos hizo un poquito tarde para subir corriendo de la boutique para acá, pero bueno, ya estamos en eso. Traté de ajustar un poco lo de la cámara porque muchos me decían que nos veíamos como amarillos. Ya no me dio tiempo, voy a tener que regresar luego yo creo que para los streams voy a regresar al iPhone, que sí estaba dando un poquito más de, ¿cómo se llama? No sé, una cámara un poco más fría. Pero bueno, a ver, vamos a ver, ahorita, Alfonso Díaz, un miembro de Mysen Journey, gracias por acompañarnos, estar acá con nosotros. Jorge Altamirano, Jorge Altamirano, buenas noches. Eduardo, buenas noches, Jorge, qué bueno verte por acá. A ver, Alexander Álvarez, buenas noches desde Colombia. Oye, pues muchas gracias por acompañarnos, no sé cómo andemos ahí con la diferencia de tiempo. Eduardo, ¿qué tal todo? Justo a tiempo que acaba de terminar el partido de Argentina. Órale, no tenía ni idea, con razón. Ahorita va a haber gente que está más bien en eso. Ya decía yo que hay poca gente aquí adentro. Alexo Hernández, hola, saludos desde Oaxaca. Muchísimas gracias, Alexo, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. James Damon, ¿qué tal, hermano? ¿Cuándo un video dedicado a 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Pues ahí te va. De 𝗂𝗏𝗏 𝗂𝗏𝗏 ya lo he hablado en algunas veces. Y justo hace como 2 semanas hice un video de 𝗂𝗏𝗏 𝗂𝗏𝗏, el nuevo eau de parfum. Fíjate que 𝗂𝗏𝗏, el Blue o BLB, nunca lo tuve, no tengo ni idea. Y el otro, pues bueno, tampoco. 𝗃𝗏𝗁𝗃𝗃𝗃, Joel, saludos desde Cozumel. Joel, gracias, sí, tu nombre está medio complejo, güey. Tu nombre de usuario. Eduardo Gamboa, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros, saludos. Hussein, hola, ¿has probado Navati de Astrofil? Sí, claro, nosotros tenemos en la boutique Astrofil Stella desde el año pasado y yo pienso que Navati es uno de mis favoritos sin duda. No sé, entre ese y Shanghai 1920 puede ser. Roberto Carlos del Pozo Corcho, otro miembro de Meissen Journey, gracias por estar con nosotros, Roberto. Buenas noches, bro, a ti y al familión. No, pues gracias a ti por acompañarnos. Arcángel Negro, saludos desde Ciudad Juárez, saludos desde acá. ¿Cómo va el calor por allá? Debe estar mortal, ¿verdad? Barel Consiglieri, hola, saludos a todos. ¿Qué novedad esperas con ansias, Master? Ya sea nicho o diseñador. Pues, fíjense que sí he estado viendo algunas cositas. No te creas que... A ver, la otra vez me enseñaron una foto de un nuevo Tom Ford, creo que dice hombre leder, o sea, no sé si va a ser ahora una versión fresca, para la madre, así como que quieras con ansias, no, pero pues puede estar padre probar. ¿Qué otro vi que viene interesante? Creo que viene un nuevo 1 Million. Pues, en fin, ya hay 20,000 cosas, no sé, habrá que echarle un ojito. Alexander Álvarez, un favor, al día de hoy, ¿cuál es la mejor fragancia nicho para fiesta y disco bien sexys? Pues, hijo, la verdad es que te voy a decir algo, yo creo que hay varias. Un poquito en la experiencia de lo que he visto en la boutique, en el feedback que me da la gente que lo compra y qué tal, por el tipo de edad. Yo sigo pensando que Cherry Punk es un excelente perfume de fiesta. Ahorita fíjate que �υ𝗹𝗆 está destronando un poquito, es completamente, obviamente, playero y todo esto, pero queda con este sex appeal como antrero, está bueno, está bueno. A ver. Send Love, saludos desde 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Massachusetts, saludos, gracias por acompañarnos. Luis Felipe Gómez, buenas noches, ¿cómo estás? El perfume Alejandría 2, ¿vale la pena? ¿Cuáles son sus características y modo de uso? De hecho, tengo un video dedicado a ese perfume, te lo recomiendo muchísimo. Y el mes pasado creo que hablé de la versión 10º aniversario, que a mí me encantó. Yo sería el que te podría recomendar. Uso, pues un poquito más formal, ¿no? Yo los uso siempre, pero pues ahí sí ya depende, ¿no? Hermano, por cierto, estaba intentando comprar Last Season, pero está agotado en tu página. Sí, James, caray, desgraciadamente, después del video que hicimos, pues sí, se agotó y venía, justamente el día de mañana me llega un pedido de la marca y ya los que vienen ya están prevendidos. Entonces voy a tener que hacer otro pedido porque sí, la verdad es que mucha gente nos ha pedido mucho Last Season. ¿Qué perfume te pusiste al final para tu fiesta de charro? Justamente me puse Last Season y señores, qué maravilla, performance brutal. El día de hoy entregué la chaquetilla, ¿no? Porque pues yo no la tenía, o sea, me la prestaron. Y sí, en ese momento para la fiesta obviamente sí me puse sobre la ropa, pues esa madre seguía apestando a Last Season, entonces y me pidieron que no las llevara a lavar porque obviamente la idea es que tuviera este tema, ¿cómo dijeron que era? Ambientado, ¿no? Porque tenía como unos balazos y órale. Eduardo, ¿alguna reseña de los perfumes mexicanos Sandovalis? El dragón rojo, un aroma súper. No lo tengo, lo probé en Mexcent el año pasado, fue uno de los que más me gustó, pero no lo pude comprar porque también ahí estaba Paco y pues solo tenían uno, elige Paco, adelante. Y les voy a ser honesto, no he tenido el detenimiento de ir y comprarlo, bueno, no ir, pedirlo, pero sí se me antoja, ese creo que no estaría mal. Hermano, mil gracias por estar con nosotros, por acompañarnos por acá. Pues fíjense que el día de hoy tengo un invitado muy especial, ¿no? Como parte de estos jueves que hacíamos, pues de amigos, de chelas y de tal. También el año pasado estuvimos haciendo, si se acuerdan, estas colaboraciones en donde teníamos invitados especiales. Estuvo Sarah Baker con nosotros, estuvo Bárbara Germán de 𝗍𝗗𝗏 Perfumes, un tiempito antes estuvo Renier, en fin, como que estábamos haciendo esto, lo dejé un poquito de lado y ahorita dije, ¿por qué no? Entonces, el invitado de hoy, que es Joseph Quartana, que en un ratito se los voy a presentar, él es el dueño, director creativo de Quartana Perfumes, una marca que fue, yo creo que de las primeras botellas o marcas nicho que yo tuve en mi colección. Es una marca, ahorita le preguntaremos exactamente el tiempo, pero si no me equivoco tiene más de 10 años la marca y ya tiene un chorro de lanzamientos. Ya estaremos platicando y hay algo muy interesante que sería como la introducción de esto. Los perfumes están inspirados en venenos, en flores venenosas, y si no me equivoco tiene 10 venenos o 13 venenos, una cosa así, es enorme la colección. Pero desde el año pasado decidió hacer un cambio de imagen y justo lo que decidió hacer fue ir cambiando uno por uno los perfumes, porque él me platicaba que uno de los grandes errores que tuvo hace 10, 12 años, digo, cuando lanzó la marca, fue lanzar todos los perfumes al mismo tiempo. Y me dijo, no le das espacio a cada uno. Entonces, la gente es imposible que puedas probar todos. Hay algunos que no los pelan, luego pasan 3 años y luego se vuelven los hypes. Entonces dijo, tengo ahorita la oportunidad de rehacer eso. Y entonces cambió la imagen. Pensando en eso, Chaparra, igual al ratito, a ver si me pasas si encontráramos el Volkswagen antiguo. Pero bueno, no te preocupes, pero para que vean la diferencia. Entonces, pues bueno, lo vamos a ahorita presentar. Denme nada más un minutito en lo que terminamos. No, déjalo. Digo, no te preocupes. Pero bueno, ahora, un tema que sí es importante, que aquí les pedimos todo su apoyo. Joseph no habla español, entonces, bueno, pues la plática la vamos a hacer en inglés. Obviamente esto va a quedar guardado. No, tiene que ser una botellita morada. Seguramente estaban hasta arriba, pero no te preocupes, déjalo, digo, ya han hablado. En fin, le pediremos a Joseph más bien el que ¿cómo se llama? Que a ver si en su estudio por ahí tiene alguno de las antiguas y que las puedan ver. Pero como dicen, pues sin más preámbulo, pues al final de cuentas digo, ya antes de empezar con la entrevista, bueno, con la entrevista, con la plática, ya saben cómo es esto. Para todos los que nos están acompañando, vamos a estar con él un ratito, yo creo que una media hora o algo así. Estaremos platicando, viendo preguntas, ya nos dirán ustedes y terminando, tendremos chance, ya nos quedamos nosotros y ahí platicamos y hacemos algunas cosas. Entonces, pues bueno, vamos a darle la bienvenida a Joseph para que venga. Joseph, can you hear me?
And yeah, can you hear me okay?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing, Eduardo? Greetings from a very, very, very balmy New York City. We're melting up here. It's not usually this hot. So,
yeah.
And I have no air conditioning in this cabin, so I'm just like, woo. So bear with me as I might be a little sweaty for this interview, but I'm super psyched to be here. We've been talking about this for months, and we're finally making it happen. So, thank you for having me. I can't wait to talk about it.
No, of course. Thank you for having this conversation with us. I think you're freezing a bit, or at least your image. I don't know if you can hear me correctly.
Yeah, I can hear you okay. It seems okay.
Okay. No, I do hear you perfectly and continuously, but your image sometimes it freezes. But I don't know if it's me. But anyway,
I'm gonna fix. I know exactly what that is. I'm gonna fix the cam to be standard def, and that should do the job. Okay.
Yeah, it could be, or sometimes you just need to downgrade the quality. For example, on mine, I'm using my phone, but if you want to use like full HD and blah, 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 of course you would need like a private server in order to.
Yeah. I had it on high def. Now it's on standard. Let's see if it doesn't stop freezing. I hope it does the job. I can go down lower. So.
Don't worry. But I was just doing like a bit of an intro to all the followers that are here in the tonight on this live. And
come in and watch.
I was telling you that I was telling them that it was going to be a conversation between friends, and that I have some questions and some things that I think it's better to have the owner, the creative director, telling you things directly instead of reading it in Fragrantica or something like that.
Yeah, totally, of course. I think it's always best to have sort of a the head and the talking head in front of you that is explaining and interacting.
Exactly.
As we move into the future, we become less and less inclined to want to read text. Everything is becoming a lot more video friendly and tactile in that way.
Okay. So I was telling them, and I have this. I think this could be my first question to you: is how long did you have your brand?
Quartana or my perfume company? Because I actually have two brands.
Okay.
I got started in 2008 with another company called 𝗃 Perfumes. That's another company I founded. We did 27 perfumes over 4 series from 2008 to 2011. We worked with pretty much all Givaudan and Symrise perfumers, and the gist of it was basically making very edgy, creative perfumes for like the future stars of fashion, of the fashion industry.
Hey.
We would choose I curated it, so we would choose 6 different rising stars of fashion, pair them with veteran perfumers, and have the perfumers render the fashion designer's vision through scent. They were like junior fashion design fragrances, but very creative. And we actually won the first ever Best Indie 𝗵𝗵 Prize from that endeavor, the 3rd series back in 2011. So I got nominated the first year there was Best Indie for my 2nd series of 𝗃, and I won it in 2011 for the 3rd series of 𝗃 for a perfume that Rodrigo Flores Ru did, actually. Because I did 3 perfumes with him for 𝗃. So I worked with a whole bunch of big heavyweights. I learned how to design perfumes working with these fashion designers and these veteran perfumers, so that when I started my own brand, Parfums Quartana, in 2014, I had some experience under my belt. So, and under Parfums Quartana, I've done now 13, about 16 and counting. So in total, more than 50.
More than 50 perfumes under your belt. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was telling them, I thought you had like 12 perfumes.
For Quartana, indeed, yes.
But
Yeah.
now that you say 16, oh my God. And I was telling them, that when I first met the brand, of course, I was intrigued about this kind of perfumes inspired by venomous flowers. And so I was wanted to ask you, how did you came with the idea of doing perfumes based on venomous flowers?
Yeah, a good question. Basically, I guess as a perfume creator, I'm always thinking about what could make a really fascinating fragrance, and I have a notebook full of ideas. So that's something that I just think about all the time. And I was watching an episode of Breaking Bad back in like 2013. Remember this TV show?
Yeah, of course, I love it.
And in it, Walt, the protagonist, actually used lily of the valley as poison in the
Yes,
show.
in the
And
cigarette, of course.
yeah, so you
Yeah.
remember. And I had an epiphany moment where I was like, wait a second. Firstly, I didn't know lily of the valley was poisonous. Secondly, I was like, what an interesting concept to render a lily of the valley perfume, but focusing on its poisonous aspect instead of its innocent spring-like aspect. I was like, it totally changes the mood and atmosphere and the potential of what we can do. So it kind of started with that. And I ran into, so one of the women that I worked with for Sixth Sense at Simrise, I ran into her at Elements Trade Fair in New York City in January 2014. And she came up to me and she's like, Joseph, do you have any good ideas for, an indie fragrance series? Because we're looking at Simrise, we're looking to do, a new concept, and we'll get behind it and we'll throw resources at it. And I was like, yeah, what do you think of exploring poisonous flowers? And they were like, oh my God. They were like, yes, we have to do that. Holy cow. They were like, certainly this must have been done. And we looked around, and of course, yes, there's Poison by Christian Dior. Yes, there's Opium by YSL. Yes, there's Datura from Serge Lutens. But no one really took a deep dive into the folklore behind them. I was most interested in exploring the folklore as a way of leading the design of the perfume.
Okay.
And that hadn't been done. And also the fact that we were going to do, initially I had proposed 6 to Simrise when I did so I did like 3 months of research, and I proposed to them. They greenlit it. I presented to their entire creative team, and all of the perfumers actually volunteered for the poisonous flower story that they wanted to render. The criteria was that we have no time limit on the perfumes. When they're done, they're done, they're done. And you have to be into it. Like, you have to want to do it. So the perfumers basically, this is a passion project. So the perfumers had to work on their own time. But the thing is, we had no creative budget limits. So we could do any oil we want. We can do any combination. We can do anything we want. What we wanted to do was really honor the folklore as these very interesting flowers that happen to be deadly poisonous, but also in small doses, Eduardo, in small doses, medicinal.
Okay.
And also in small doses, an integral part to rituals, nature worship rituals, basically, and getting in touch with, quote unquote, the other side, the spirit realm. And so that was really much more fascinating as an approach to us. We didn't want to do this kind of doom and gloom, worshiping death, and they are not. To be crystal clear, they're not gloom and doom fragrances. They all have salvation built into them by design. Okay. I wouldn't have it any other way, because what we want to focus on was the fact that these poisonous flowers, in their ritualistic use, can be used to enlighten the wearer, because you get a glimpse of the other side, and then you come back to Earth with new knowledge of what you saw, and you're like, wow, okay, it changes everything. So, and then the main thing, what we were really trying to do, practically speaking, because you have to admit, the concept of poison flowers as perfume is very empowering for females, because it's the idea that I'm beautiful, but if you mess with me, I'm thorny. You're gonna get it, you know. So I did it as a way of empowering my sisters, you know, in an age of
Okay.
a lot of toxic masculinity. I think it's very nice and empowering for females, and so that's like the sort of the long and short of it with where it came from. I know that's a
Okay.
long-winded answer, but I wanted to be thorough with it.
No, no, no. But you know, it gave light to the idea of the project. You know, which it isn't a gloomy, gothic kind of perfumery, but instead focusing more on the holistic, maybe let's say new age kind of thing of you know, of the flower. And so you said originally you had like 6 flowers that you had in mind.
Yeah,
Uh,
so we pitched 6 with 2 options. The
okay,
perfume team was so overwhelmed with excitement. They were like, we want to do all 8, and plus we want to do a 9th one. We're going to propose one to you, and if you like it, we're going to render it too. And that 9th one was Foxglove or Digitalis, done by
okay,
𝗍𝗱𝗂𝗃, the senior perfumer there, because he just had a great idea for it. And even though, and if you've smelled them all, you'll know that Digitalis is the only like innocent one for the bunch, the only really clean daytimey one, because the other ones are quite naughty, maximalist, eveningy. You know, they're all kind of gourmandy and rich in a naughty way. Whereas Digitalis is a bit more innocent, you know, and so it was the one that stands out from the bunch. And that was all 𝗍𝗱𝗂𝗃's doing. He really led the charge on that. And I was like, you know what? We have to do it. We must, you know,
of
because that
course.
it's the folklore. And so we're honoring the perfume folklore. We don't know what we wanted to accomplish in the end. All we know is that we wanted to honor the folklore. And then when me and the perfumer agreed it's done, it's done.
Okay, okay, that's nice. We had a question from well, not question, but maybe an observation. Luis Rodolfo says maybe in small doses are aphrodisiac. Could
Yeah,
be.
absolutely. 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 They have also, and Spanish fly is exactly that. If you want to talk about a poison that in small doses, seriously,
Oh,
it's
really?
actually a nervous system irritant. So, but yeah, the poisons, they will irritate your nervous system, and in very, very small doses, I suppose that makes you horny. I don't know because I've never tried. So I don't recommend you to try either. And please don't ingest my perfumes to try. You know?
um, so, okay, do you remember which are the 6 original pitches that you had? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
are the numbers?
Belladonna, Mandrake, let me think, Bloodflower, Datura. We called it opium for the pitch, but it was poppy soma, well, poppy, or just poppy, you know, because we wanted to do our own take on opium, the perfume formula, because Emily Copperman, who did my Poppy Soma, was the understudy of Jean-Louis Suzac, who did opium for YSL. So we knew the formula. So we wanted to do it completely rebooted with a
Okay,
totally fresh take, just FYI. So a little side note about the Poppy Soma. So Poppy was definitely in there, that bunch, because of that reason. Like, we have to do that one. And then, forgive me, let me just remember. And then Wolfsbane. And then the
okay,
ones that we added afterwards were Digitalis, and Lily of the Valley was also in the original one. And I think Mandrake actually was one of the options that we went with. And what am I missing here? Oh, Hemlock. So anyway, yeah, they all wound up getting greenlit in the end. That was the point, you know. And we wound up doing anywhere from about 150 to 350 mods over the 2.5 years we developed them.
oh my God.
So because we were chiseling away at the dark, we didn't know. And so so God bless Symrise for giving us the patient, you know, the patience and the resources. But yeah, because in the beginning we were not quite sure what we wanted them to smell like. It's really,
Okay.
so the first approach was we actually smelled all of the poison flowers. And as it turns out, none of them are really all that pleasant in
Okay.
reality. So from
Okay.
the beginning, we were like, well, we have to definitely do imaginary takes on these
Yeah.
poisonous flowers because they're not nice. The only nice one was mandrake. And so we really went overboard with it. And that one, it smells like apples, actually. So we made the heart of mandrake really reflect what it actually smells like. So mandrake is definitely reflective of what it smells like in reality. This is true to life. Same with poppy to some degree. We had a little bit in there. And datura, we used those accords in those respective ones.
So,
and then Lily of the Valley too. I'm sorry. Lily of the Valley too is also realistic. The rest of them were really, really imaginary takes on more of the folkloric aspects. Datura especially was not a very nice one. So we made it a super floral in the end. It literally irritated my nose and eyes. It was horrible, you know? So that's one little fun fact.
That's something very interesting. I didn't knew that. So, and of course, because I've never smelled any of these kind of flowers.
Yeah, and nor do I recommend you do. Don't even touch them. They irritate, you know? In fact, you see this on my arm here? This is actually a rash from foxglove, which we have in our backyard. We just made some photos of fox. It grows naturally in our we're in upstate New York. We're in the mountains of New York State, about 2 hours north of New York City. So we have two headquarters, one in New York City and then one up here since the pandemic, basically. So we spend more time up here. We're actually in the shadow of Woodstock, where the concert took place. To give you an idea, it's really cool. Yeah, like we're 5 minutes, Eduardo, from that field. Wow. So there's a really interesting energy in the air up here. It's very cool. It's very cool. So it's totally random.
So, I'm trying just to wrap my brain in what you said. So, for example, hemlock. The first time you smell let's say the actual flower, you said, okay, this doesn't smell good, but I'm going to focus on what people say or the folklore say about this flower, and then translate it in a different smell. So
yeah, not necessarily a different smell, but we made it as like a highlights reel of the infamy and the ritualistic uses. So we chose certain sort of key moments in its history where it was used as a poison or where it was used as a ritualistic accompaniment, and some certain symbols that were associated with those moments in history. And those really went then into creating this atmosphere, this like world, of this poisonous flower. So, and it varied for each one. Each one had a slightly different brief that kind of celebrated a cool aspect, if you will, about that particular poisonous flower, So for example, belladonna was used as a long history of use for both poison and ritual in Italy, going back to Roman times. And it was actually used by Livia to murder the emperor. I think it was Claudius who was murdered by Livia. So there was a major scandalous murder used by belladonna. But in addition to that, the witches of Italy would use belladonna to convene with basically like the spirits of the woods. So it was used for witchcraft and night rituals. So that's one of the reasons we called it Venetian belladonna. It's an homage to its use in Italian witchcraft, or stregheria, as it's called in Italy. So then bloodflower, for example, is used. The interesting aspect that we liked about bloodflower was that it's consumed by the monarch caterpillar as an integral ingredient in the transformation for the caterpillar to turn into the majestic butterfly.
Okay.
The metamorphosis, exactly. It's a catalyst for the metamorphosis. So I liked the idea of a spiritual metamorphosis. And what I was thinking about was what a vampire is thinking when he's drinking your blood, and it's sort of and if you watch the short film, it's we created this 2-minute short film. It's about a woman who finds herself in purgatory, and she encounters the bloodflower, and through her encounter with the bloodflower caterpillar, she transforms into the majestic monarch butterfly, and it's a spiritual release into heaven for her. It's a release out of purgatory. That's the sort of moral of the lesson. It looks a little bit ghastly because I wanted to render it stylistically in a very vampiric sense. And so in the film, we have a woman taking, so when she wakes up dead, she realizes she's dead. And then she has a blood shower, whereas me in the shower actually pouring theatrical blood over our model. And she's like washing it off. And then suddenly she gives birth to the butterfly and she's reborn. And that was the idea. And so the perfume imagines what a vampire is thinking when he's drinking your blood. And it's a sort of a commentary on that, into finding the way to heaven through the life force, I suppose, that's like found in like blood. It's quite fascinating. We wove those two sort of mythologies together.
Okay.
So yeah. And so each of them has a little like story along those lines, and then the perfumer would come up with a really clever way of rendering it, you know.
Okay.
Hemlock, which is one of the top sellers, and which we recently just re-released. You know what? I have show and tell here. I can show you as we're doing. You know, you saw these new boxes as we just got them, but this is our.
Yeah. In fact, you know, I was telling them that before this is like the new package.
Yes,
it was
exactly.
an older package, and but well, we'll go to that later. But yeah, you can show it. It's an amazing presentation.
Moon crate, yeah. This is what I wanted the boxes to look like in the beginning, but a little bit more staid. And so we have, of course, we show off our list of ingredients, and then of course the front side, as you're showing off, yes, is the floral in question. And then it's kind of a classic, of course, all of the potions fatales, our poisonous flora, are rendered in the blue boxes. Here is blood flower, which just came out too. So
I love it. This was the first one that I bought.
Oh, really? Amazing. All right. Yeah, this is our best seller since day one. It's really quite crazy. I wasn't, and the reason I say it's quite crazy because my wife hated it so much. She begged me not to release it. She thought it reminded her of her monthly visitor because of the blood accord. And it's true, it does. And it's very polarizing. Blood flower is either loved or absolutely despised. It's really, you know, you love or hate it.
And I wanted to ask you something now that you're talking about blood flower.
Yes.
In fact, I've never heard about a flower called blood, you know, but so does it smell like blood? That's where the name comes, or it's for the color?
It's really called blood flower, but what it actually is it's milkweed. And like I said, so this was the most imaginary one. So blood flower was used as a poison, and in fact, it's used by the natives of Central America to poison their blowgun darts, is what I'm trying to say. That's really traditionally how it's used, actually, as a poison. But because of the name blood flower, there was a very famous album by the band The Cure, who I love, which is a goth band and from the 90s. And I was like, I have to do a vampiric take. It's very inspired by my appreciation for the film Interview with the Vampire from the mid-90s with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt for Man Rice, a very darkly romantic gothic film. And so the main, going back to your question, the main interesting point about blood flower, the flower, which is really called blood flower, was that it's used for this metamorphosis to turn the caterpillar into the butterfly. So we just took that and applied it to kind of like how it can lead you to heaven. And that's sort of the ritualistic aspect of its use, or any poisonous floral use, is to get a glimpse of heaven, basically, at the end of the day.
Look, I'm checking very good questions. I have one from Ulysses. He was telling, from all the poisons, which one is to die for?
I like
that. Is your favorite?
Okay, well, I mean, that's like asking me what's my favorite child, because we worked on each of them. I love each because I was the one that chose the particular flowers we were going to explore, and did all the research And I thought that they were all compelling. We actually had a list of 30 poisons in the beginning, and I whittled them down to 6.
Okay.
So, but to answer the question, the ones I wear Lily of the Valley because it's just nice on my skin. And in truth, you know, all of my perfumes are so fine that you have to test them on your skin because they wear a little differently on everyone. You know, I can't wear my 𝗃𝗫𝗏𝗧. It's not nice on me. I can't wear my 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗏. It's also not nice on me. But 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗏 on my wife is divine. And 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗏 won Perfume Extraordinaire. It's a blindfold prize. It beat 350 luxury perfumes to be #1. So on the right skin, it's magnificent, you know, but not on me. So all of my perfumes, because of the fine oils, you have to wear them and to really try them on the skin, you know. And also don't rub it when you spray it. Just let it air dry because you do ruin the top notes of the experience. And also, I want to just quickly point out that all of my perfumes do take you on a journey, beginning, middle, and end, quite by design. There's nothing facetious or unnecessary in any of my formulae. Like we really, really, really think about every small detail. And what I try to give you and all of my fans or any of the people who appreciate, especially perfume aficionados, is something to really sink their teeth into. Yeah. It's not a hype fragrance whatsoever. This is something that you can really mull over and get lost in for months at a time. In fact, I've been getting lost in my own poison flower perfumes for years and counting. I mean, we created these in 2014 to 2016. I released them in late 2016. I still learn about them in 2024 by wearing them. I still discover aspects. So they have a lot of secrets because I designed each of them, Eduardo, in an alternative state of mind. It's quite, yeah. They're subconscious musings, seriously. And so I was not sure what I was designing. I would just put everything into the noodle and I saw what came out. And then we pitched those to the perfumers and then they rendered them. And it's quite poetic in that regard. It was an abstract rendering is what I'm trying to say, you know? So, but somehow they make sense, you know, case in point. One of the ways, so you ask yourself, so one thing about each of these poisonous florals, Eduardo, is that they're not really florals, right? Yeah. You can't really describe them as florals. Belladonna, yes, a little bit. Datura, yes, it's a super floral. But, you know, 𝗃𝗫𝗏𝗏 is a watery, fresh fragrance. You know, Wolfsbane is kind of a gourmand. It's a woody sort of spiced gourmand. Lily of the Valley is a leather. Mandrake is a fruity floral, you know. So how did we tie them all together? And what we did was that we made each of them ever so slightly boozy. So each of them has a boozy note as the common thread, and you know, booze is poisonous. Of course, ethyl alcohol is literally quite poisonous, and you know, there's the saying, "Pick your poison," right? Which drink do you want? And so each of them, to impart a toxic yet, you know, still desirous effect, we imparted them with a gourmand sort of alcohol, you know, a dessert alcohol, a dessert liqueur. So Belladonna has cognac, Wolfsbane has absinthe, Lily of the Valley has gentian, Mandrake, let me try to remember what we put each of them. Bloodflower has black sambuca, which is one of my favorite dessert liqueurs. Okay. Yeah. So
for example, hemlock, which alcohol?
Oh, hemlock has Martinique rum.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides the spice top and the cinnamon. So the booze sort of, it infuses the heart with that poison, with that poisonous aspect. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you have to admit that they're not quite fresh and happy, right? You know, they work in their way that they have that dark drama. Because what we were going for ultimately is that I saw white space in the market because I didn't see darkly romantic perfumes. What's a dark romantic person like myself? Someone who appreciates, let's say, well, let's say the music of The Cure, you know, like what brands can you really wear? What perfumes? And I'm talking for real, because like we walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Like these vibrate. That the one thing about Quartana that makes us unique and why anyone should care about my work, besides the fact that I won 2 blindfolded perfume prizes in a row, and the most important ones on earth, Art and Olfaction and Perfume Extraordinaire from Fragrance Foundation, in a row, I won, beating out hundreds of others. But what we do is we make unique perfume formulas from the best stuff on earth with the most talented perfumers on earth, and with fearless formula that are basically testament to the creativity of perfume. We don't care about sales. We know that sales will come because we just want to make the best that we can with the best ingredients. And here's the kicker. Our perfumes have meaning. They reverberate with meaning and folklore. And so that's what makes them interesting and something to really sink your teeth into, that they're not shallowly stylish. Like, yes, my perfumes are stylish. Yes, my perfumes will definitely get you laid. Yes, my perfumes are seductive as fuck. But they also have meaning. They're for smart people, basically. So, that's the thing about it. So that's what I really try to go for, and that's who I designed for. So if that sounds compelling to you, welcome to our universe.
It is. Here, Cesar, well, he put this question, but then he explained it in Spanish. He was trying to ask you if you ever had any kind of rush, or you would be like imperiled by, touching something of the venom or something like that. Like, did you have any kind of, let's say, like a bad experience with any of the poisonous that you worked with?
I not with what I worked with, thank God, because we were really, really, really careful. And everything we do is quite laboratory, and we're 𝗍𝗱 certified. And actually, 7 of the 9 poisonous flower perfumes are actually certified clean. Certified clean. Yeah.
Okay.
So
they are clean venom.
yeah, exactly. It's really just the essence and the concept is what we're imparting, Okay. But I personally almost died from an overdose on vitamins when I was 5 years old. And we had to call a hotline. There's the American Association of Poison Control Center, which is basically a hotline for coaching a parent what to do in the event their child, overdoses on vitamins or drinks poison under the sink. And so this hotline actually saved my life because it coached my mother with what to do. And so actually we dedicated a portion of the proceeds for the perfumes to this the hotline for the poison control centers as thanks for saving my life, basically. So also to say that we don't take poisoning seriously. We're not some weird death cult, it's quite fun, like it's a fairy tale. My perfumes are fairy tales. And so they have a realness to them, but at the end of the day, it's for fun, we don't take it seriously. Yeah.
Of course. Primal Sense says, which of the Anne Rice Vampire Chronicles is your favorite book?
I never actually read them, but I loved Interview with the Vampire, and when I was coming of age, when I was about 18, when I saw it, it definitely shaped my identity. When I just came to New York, when I was a freshman at NYU, I started to actually host one of the most famous nightclubs, an LGBT nightclub in New York called The Tunnel. That we had 5,000 people every night dancing high on ecstasy. And and I got basically, I was 18 and hosting these parties and booking the DJ talent. And so I went from very sheltered life in New Jersey as a nerdy honors student to that world very fast. And I grew up very fast. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so now that you say, it's very, very funny. I think maybe last week or 10 days ago, we saw Interview with a Vampire because there's a new TV series about it. Like, I don't know if it's a prequel or something like that, but nice. We were starting seeing it, and I told my wife, do you want to see the movie? Because I don't remember it. So we did, and now that you say like Blood Flower inspired by that and so forth. It's very interesting. In fact, I would love, for, I don't know if here I can share my screen or something, but there's like a short film on YouTube, about Blood Flower and everything that you were saying about this girl. It's a kind of gothic gore weird thing.
Exactly.
I've been showing it to my clients on the boutique, and they love it. And then they see it and it's like, okay, can I smell it? Yes, of course. Here you go. So
yeah, it definitely inspires curiosity, and we shot that little short film in like one afternoon in my friend's apartment, basically back in 2016. I do all the films, also we try to do it very DIY, like we do everything, in house, all the creative, and we're 100% indie. I own everything, so we don't have to answer to anybody. We can keep it truly indie and brave and creative. But yeah, the film, hang on, there was a funny point that I wanted to make about that. Yes, well, actually, with Interview with the Vampire and Blood Flower, the perfume, I wanted it to be a haute gothic experience. Very dressy, but not cheesy. It's not like mall goth, Hot Topic. It's very elevated. And that's what I thought was really missing, so I was really trying to do that elegant kind of haute gothic experience. Perfume. Yeah. Very, very inspired also, like I said, about like late 80s Cure music, like the album.
I get the picture about it.
Yeah. Disintegration, albums like this, from the Cure. Yeah.
Okay, Rob is saying, please let me recommend Merrick by Anne Rice. It's the middle point between the Vampire Chronicles and the Witch Tales.
Oh,
thank you for the recommendation. Awesome. I'm also going to jump on that because I haven't read it. But
yeah, and I need to watch the movie again too, because I haven't watched it since the 90s. So now I'm like, hey, you got me thinking.
It aged well. I was seeing it and I was like, it doesn't look.
It looks, yeah, it's not cheesy. Like it actually, yeah, it was well done at the time, so.
Yes. Javier says, layering your fragrances, it sounds like a guilty pleasure experiment to make. Wow. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, my perfumes are so well thought out and detailed, you don't have to. And I'm worried that there's going to be some clashing of notes, possibly, that would be unintended. But try them out. You never know, but I promise you that standalone, they're unique enough. You don't have to layer them because they sit differently on everyone, a little different. Like, trust me, if you were to smell Blood Flower on me and then on my wife, 3 different perfumes. Okay. So that's the thing. So they don't need to be layered, but try them out. It could be, I mean, initially, to be honest, we were going to try to go that route. We were really going to focus on being able to blend them, because actually witches in the old days would blend belladonna with mandrake to create these flying salves, or really what they are super hallucinogenic formulae where they would just trip. Let's be honest, And so we were going to go there, but then what happened is when you have all these permutations, some of them are disgusting and they really don't work. So we were like, you know what? Better not to do any that some are weird, because for my work, everything has to work in every small detail all the time. Otherwise, I nix it, if that makes sense. It has to really be completely working on every level and every small detail. Yeah.
I was trying to find a comment here that I think it was very interesting. It's in Spanish, but I can say it to you.
Yeah.
There's like a term called 𝗵𝗔𝗐𝗔. I don't know how we would translate it. It's supposed to be a king. He ingested small doses of venom, so his body would accustom slowly.
Oh.
So eventually, if somebody would poison him, he wouldn't kill it. I don't know.
Yeah, and immunity. Yes, absolutely. This is something that came up when we were doing the research for all the famous poisonings. In fact, yes, you absolutely can. And I don't recommend doing this, please. Once again, no one do this. It's probably not worth it. you know, even trying to see what happens. But yeah, if you expose yourself to extremely small amounts of the poison over long periods of time, it renders you immune to the poison. This is how snake handlers get immune to snake venom. Or what happens is they'll get bit so many times, you know, that they just, after like the 80th time, they're like, you know what, it just doesn't do anything. It's just a hangover the next day. I'm not even affected. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. So actually, it's a good point what you're bringing up, where that, like, so in minute doses, you can become resistant to poison via familiarity with poisons. In small doses, they can be medicinal. In slightly medium doses, you hallucinate because you approach death. You approach death's door, you can knock on it, open it up, look, and then peer back, come back down to earth, and you're much more spiritual as a result. Or if you're like me, you become a bit more gnostic, which means you know what's there, as opposed to agnostic, or not wanting to know what's there, doubting, you know. And then in large doses, you're not coming back, you know. That's like the final act. Yeah. So, yeah, you got the spectrum there of all the possibilities, basically.
Of course. And you know, now that you say that, the term microdosing now, it's very common and people know and do.
And this is precisely what it is. You're just slightly poisoning yourself to open up, you know, that inspirational source of all things, you know, the source of all life. Just let it flow. Because funnily enough, when you're poisoned, number one, you suspend your brain a little. You numb your brain. And when your brain is numbed, you know, the light from on high can flow down, so to speak. That's actually what 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 is all about.
I was going to just going to ask you about that. Okay. So, but before we go there, let's try to do like an intro for all the guys that they are seeing, and maybe they don't know about this. So we are talking about, you know, the blue boxes, which are, you know, the venom of. They are inspired by venom flowers. They are 12, if you told me. Nine venoms
of 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏. The name is the poison, the fatal potions. 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏. The fatal potions is the name of the collection. And all of them have it's a moonlit sort of theme, where we have we showcase the flower and the moon, and then of course the inside is basically the moon, you know, and the perfume. And it's an homage to Snow White's mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, you know.
Oh, wow.
Magic mirror. And the idea also that the mirror of subconscious is sort of the doorway between, you know, this present world we live in and of course the imaginary world, you know.
Okay.
That's very, very important symbolism. So when we're looking at the perfume, it's basically a gateway, you know, to the moon world, going into that mirror. Yeah, that's part of the design.
Okay, so you have the 9 venoms, and then last year you released this.
𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏, yes. My first release in it was my first release in let's see, 2022, 2016. It was 6 years. My first release in 6 years. And yes, this perfume is an homage to the Hierophant tarot card. And what the heck's the Hierophant tarot card? Basically, the Hierophant is the high priest. And he, in ancient Greece, held and guarded the secrets of the mysteries of the universe. And so this perfume and the idea around it came out of the poison flowers, and getting away from the poison flowers. The idea was getting off of the earth, getting out of the poison garden, going up into the heavens, you know, in this case. So let me see how I can explain this. So long story short, with Oh, I'm going to show you a little sneak preview really quick, Eduardo, of 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧, because that's the next one coming out.
Oh,
The
okay.
next release is 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧.
Oh, beautiful. All right.
Yeah, this is coming for holiday. And
Okay.
so this was again my homage to the power of the opium pop and the idea of chasing the dragon
Okay.
in Chinese folklore, because the Chinese used it not only for getting high and going to the other side, but also for sex and for enhancement of sex. And so we imagined two nude bodies, sweaty, intertwined, making love and on opium and chasing the dragon and launching into this passionate, spicy, floral experience. So what's interesting is right outside my studio in New York City is Chinatown in New York City. And I was very heavily inspired by a TV show called The Knick on CDMX, which was directed by Steven Soderbergh. It's from like 2015. And it's all about a hospital in New York City in 1900 where the chief surgeon was played by Clive Owen. And in the daytime, he's addicted to cocaine, and he does surgery, he's addicted to cocaine. And then in the nighttime, in order to come down from his cocaine addiction, he would go to the brothels of Chinatown and he would do opium.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
So he lived high all day.
So it's kind of crazy stuff. You there? Hello? I think it kicked.
Yeah, I think I lost you a bit.
Okay, yeah. So the head surgeon of the hospital was like, this was before those drugs were illegal. It was in 1900. So, and it happens that this imaginary hospital in this TV show was like literally right outside my front door of my studio on the Lower East Side. And so we were imagining what it was like to be smoking opium in one of those brothels in 1900. And so the opium experience that we come up with was exactly that. It's reflective of this burning opium experience of chasing the dragon.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's very passionate and sexual. And so anyway, here's my crazy story for you and how 𝗖𝗄𝗏𝗏 was born, because you were like, what is this? What is he talking about? 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧 suddenly. So I get nominated for 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧 in 2017 for Perfume Extraordinaire. So I'm shocked. I couldn't believe it. It actually beat out like 300 perfumes to get into the top 10. Wow. And so we're like, holy crap, So I go to the awards. It gets into the top 5. And I'm like, wow, this is getting exciting. We might actually win. But I was like, there's no way we're going to win. This shit's all like rigged. You know how it is, right? And so it turns out that night, I win Perfume Extraordinaire for 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧. So wow. I won, and I'm really shocked. I go onto the stage. I accept the award from oh my God, it was Tom Cruise's ex-wife gave it to me. Maggie, no, not Nicole Kidman, the other one.
Yeah, Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes, thank you. She gave me the prize on stage. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And so it was that weird. And so, and I go home that night, Eduardo. Okay, 3 a.m, my gallbladder explodes in my belly, and I'm in agony on the floor in my apartment. I wake my wife up. I'm like, yo, I think we need to go to the hospital because like I'm really in
Something's
pain.
Wrong.
Something's very wrong, because there was a pain I never felt before, right? And so we go to the hospital at 5 a.m. They're like rushing me into like x-rays and sonograms, and they're like, something's really wrong. And they figure out, it's like, hey, your gallbladder exploded. You need to go into surgery right now or you're going to die. They're like, if you didn't come up here, your wife would have found you dead on the floor, 100%, with your trophy in hand. So I got the surgery. Yeah, I got the surgery, and I woke up at noon, 4-hour surgery down my throat. So I had all these tubes and wires down my throat. I wake up at noon in the hospital, and I'm like, did I win a perfume prize last night? What's happening? How am I in the hospital? Like, what is going on? I was in shock, And so the upshot is that the night I won the biggest perfume prize in American perfumery, a blindfold prize for a a collection based on poisons and death.
You almost die.
I died. Yeah. Can you even make this up? And I promise I did not rig this. It wasn't like I tried to die that night for publicity or something, you know, because it messed my life up big time. So I had to get another surgery a month later that really put me into the hospital for a whole year. I have a big scar on my belly that's like 12 inches long. I almost died during the surgery. It was crazy. Like I had survival chances of only 30% of the surgery.
Oh my God.
30%. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm pretty much done. You know, I was like, I'm going to make my will because it looks like I'm finished, you know? So 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗂 was basically right after I came out of the hospital and I started to heal. I got a roadster, a little car, a convertible, and I was racing up the side of the mountain. And I had this vision about going to the stars in a rocket ship. I had an epiphany. It was a crazy epiphany where I really think that I saw my holy guardian angel. I know it sounds insane, but it was only for a split second. And I got this assurance like everything was going to be all right. I was going to survive this mess. You know, it's crazy. I got this courage and it was so intense that I had pulled over and I wept for like 10 minutes. And I was like, holy shit, I need to make a perfume based on this experience of going up to the stars and being enlightened and then coming back down to earth. And that's how 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was born. So the mythology of the Hierophant is about taking, in Greek mythology, the Hierophant was the high priest who guarded the secrets of the mysteries of the universe. They would perform a ritual in the temple, in ancient Greece, where the initiates of this ritual, and this was like in 2000 BC, by the way, it's like a really long time ago, where the initiates of this ritual would drink a tea that was super hallucinogenic, that would get them high. They would trip like they're on acid or something. And then the priests would, and by the way, this is all top secret, punishable by murder. Like if you talked, you would be murdered. No one could talk about what was revealed. So for 5 days, they would be song and dance and props and ritual showing the mysteries of the universe. To get into this, everyone was part of this mystery cult. We don't know what was revealed in this ritual, but we know that Aristotle was in it, Socrates was in it, Hippocrates, every great thinker, everyone in Greek high society. And what we do know is that after they came out of the ritual, they no longer feared death.
Oh my God.
Interesting, right? So here's where we get to the formula. So I was watching 2001: A Space Odyssey for the 25th time. It's one of my favorite films. And I realized that Stanley Kubrick was rendering the mythology of the Hierophant with 2001: A Space Odyssey. So that's when it all came together.
You have this. Oh.
Exactly. So we decided to render the mythology of the Hierophant, but in space age terms, as an homage to 2001. Because it's all about going to the stars and getting initiated into the space gate to come back as a demigod, as an enlightened person on Earth. The very final scene shows that. It explicates that. It's fascinating. So there's so many clues that Kubrick was showing that it's basically an initiation ritual.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, you know, what we're trying to do is like render alchemical sort of interpretations of perfume. That's what gets me off, you know. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 got off on it too. He was so fascinated. He was so happy to do this fragrance. And it shows in his enthusiasm because guess what? I won my second blindfold prize in a row by winning Art and Olfaction's independent category prize last May with this guy. So to my surprise, I was blown away. I can't believe I won 2 blindfold prizes in a row with Quartana. So that's what it's about. That's what we do. You know, we create super scintillatingly original, meaningful formulas, you know?
Yeah.
If that gets you excited, that's what we do.
No, my God, that's amazing. And you know the story about what you said and how you connect your own experience, you know, your rush with that, and then so it makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to, I mean, it's kind of strange how it happened in real life, but I made the most of it and I turned it into art, I guess. I suppose that's how I owned it, But thank God, I mean, 7 years later, here I am. In fact, my 7-year anniversary was just like 3 days ago, of that experience. So, I'm grateful to be alive. And actually, these are what those are about. Actually, it's like, so you get to heaven via 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, okay, and then these are actually the keys of heaven, the actual vibrations of heavenly happiness and high vibration.
So, I in a nutshell, we could say, you have hell or death or something.
Yeah, exactly. Glamour, that's purgatory in the middle, or earth. Yep. And then we got heaven. Yep. That's it. Bingo. You're smart. You see it. Not too many people have seen that pattern. So give yourself some credit there. Bravo. Thank you for noticing, actually. Thank you.
So how would you say this is called, like remedies, like
yeah, exactly. So while I was on my in the hospital healing, okay, I had, in fact, like the first week after my crazy 8-hour surgery, the second surgery that I survived, fortunately, which is really, to this day, I am a vegan. I had to give up all meat and dairy. I had to give up all sugar. I'm eating all organic stuff. I basically embraced a full-on holistic lifestyle because my stomach can't even, there was so much damage to my guts from the gallbladder exploding all over. And basically I ate myself, I was digesting my own organs. So the surgeon then had to do a surgery to fix all the damage. And so he cut away some of my stomach, my intestines, my pancreas, all this stuff. I lost like 5 pounds of guts, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
I got lighter. So while I was in the hospital bed, I was like, I don't want to leave the world only poisons.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to leave the remedies. I want to leave a perfume. I didn't want to leave just a perfume series that glamorizes death because I was afraid it would be misinterpreted. So I was like, I really want to leave. I was like, if I'm going to die, So I was like, I really want to leave a perfume series inspired by healing. It's the flip side to black magic. It's white magic, healing ritual, healing sorcery. What does this mean? It's about I full on embraced meditation to the point now these days I can do 4 hours, 5 hours straight. I go into trances and I take a deep dive and I go to a sunny place in my mind and I cleanse myself for hours at a time. I go into the bath mostly, particularly with crystals. And it's a cleansing ritual. And you basically, it's saint magic, where you basically just allow, saints into your person and they illuminate you and they allow you to vibrate higher, basically. So what does this mean? It helped me. These perfume formulas were inspired by my own convalescence and different aspects of things that healed me. So, case in point, Forest of the Golden Dream was inspired by the healing that a forest imparts on you, or forest bathing. And this was very much inspired by the fact that I live here in the woods around Woodstock, where this magic concert took place. And the healing aspect of just living in the woods, for 4 years. I lived in Manhattan since 1993. And for the last 4 years, my wife and I have been mostly spending our time here in the woods. And it's just been unbelievable to get in touch with natural energies. And so Forest of the Golden Dream is going to that golden place in the woods. So imagine the whole perfume series, it's called Les Potions d'Intelliché, or the potions of entelechy. Entelechy meaning, it's an ancient Greek and an Aristotelian word meaning the soul, but also meaning your hidden potential, the hidden potential of the soul. What if you lived your perfect life? What would it look like? And so you can live your perfect life by allowing, how do I put this? I'm getting into abstract territory here.
Yes.
Yeah. By basically meditating and finding your inner sun, okay? And everyone has that. It's about just quieting all the chatter in your life. And then you're going to find a sunshine that's above your head that's going to flow down. And it's the source of all things that are going to give you happiness, love, and health. I can't quite describe it, but once you find it, it makes it a lot easier for you to heal. And I know this from experience. But what I can say is that a few things can help get you into the state of mind. Number one, hallucinogenics and psychedelics definitely put you into the state of mind. Number two, cleaning your person by eating well, by getting rid of processed foods, by not eating meat, by not eating dairy. In other words, a healthy vegan or pescatarian lifestyle, organic, no pesticides. All of this stuff cleanses your aura. And through that cleanse, you can get in touch with the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm, or for that matter, put it this way, Eduardo, it's your holy guardian self. Your holy guardian angel is there. You just don't hear your holy guardian angel. And the holy guardian angel will tell you how to live your best life. And so whether or not you believe this, you don't have to believe it. It's an homage to this idea. That's the beautiful aspect of it. So whether or not it works, of course, that's scientifically up to debate. And I'm not going to claim that it does because I'm not selling snake oil. Okay? I'm not saying it's medicine. Yeah. It's an homage to healing. And as best as, the author can, it's a celebration of that. Think about your happiest memory in your mind. Okay, your happiest memory, and think about that sunshine in that happiest memory. Les Potions d'Intelliché is a celebration of that sunshine. Yes, that glow, that aura, that invisible je ne sais quoi, divine, subtle energy that makes life worth living, that illuminates you in dark times, that gives you hope. Hope. And what do we need in these dark times, Eduardo? What did we need during the pandemic? Hope. What did I need in my hospital bed when I was like, man, I only have 29% chance of living 5 years? I needed hope. I found the hope in my meditations. And so I wanted to just leave through this 7-year project, because these things took 7 years. And another also open-ended, no limits on budget, no limits on time. When we felt it was done, it's done. And so we just didn't think we could improve them any better. And we used predominantly LNR natural oils, which are the best and most sustainable oils on earth. So as such, these guys are very natural and they really sit differently on everyone, especially Soleil Invisible. This one is inspired by the healing power of sunshine and all day in the sun. It's an homage to sunrise to sunset, a full day of just baking in the sun on vacation. If you're like me, you like to cook in the sun, sweat, when you're on holiday. I have Sicilian blood, so we just love it. It's like, we like to cook, and so this is an homage to literally burning in the sun. It's very smoky. It's literally smoky tangerine sun coming up, shining with its passion fruit and 𝗍𝗫 aura, and then setting down into a repose of gentle vanilla absolute. And so it's an homage to the healing power that being in the sun can do for you, and how it cleans off all those cobwebs from your etheric body, from your mind. It charges you up. The invigorating aspect of the tangerine, of the 𝗍𝗫. And then, of course, the cleansing Palo Santo and the vetiver. But that's what this is. That's Soleil Invisible, or invisible sun. And it's an homage to your sunny center. It's an homage to your solar plexus. This part right here that glows when you're happy. It's your sunshine, your sunrise.
Okay.
So
very, 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 very interesting. And for those who you haven't smelled this, they are very different.
Thank you. We really tried to make them
woody, piney, fresh.
I imagine them as you wake up in the morning, spray and go, and you're just fabulous and sophisticated all day. It's very sophisticated, but yet it's a hippie fragrance in that it's super inspired by natural energies and natural states that are just beautiful states that you can attain either through tantra or yoga, tantric dance or yoga. So they are all a celebration. So you can see as how these are the flip side to
completely, yeah.
The poison, it's just a different gateway. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you told me this was something like bondage sex over a vanilla bed or something like that.
Because all right, so let me tell you the story behind Hemlock, since it's the second bestseller. I'll actually hold the sample here. Our new samples are kind of cool too, right?
Yeah.
And of course, we're showing off
the design. You invest in the boxes, the samples, everything. It reflects a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, like we just it took years for me to have permission to work with this French company called 𝗪𝗓𝗄, who does my custom 11-pointed signature star caps and these heavy duty badges, that are. They would not work with me until I won Perfume Extraordinaire, and then they were like, "Okay, we'll work with you now." So yeah, I was knocking on their door for 8 years, so finally I got permission, and so it kind of changed everything. So.
That's amazing. So they don't work with anybody.
Yeah, they're choosy. We use the best components. I use 𝗿𝗡𝗡 heavy duty Italian glass. My boxes, as you can see, are really heavy duty. My pumps are Silgon, who are the best pumps on earth. You cannot get better pumps. But anyway, the story for Hemlock is that Christelle Laprade, the perfumer, who did a brilliant job on this. She's brilliant. She's French. Her father is a botanist, and her father was advising on the project and basically said that Hemlock looks like Queen Anne's lace. It's like this nice white, delicate flower that grows in green grassy fields by the sea in France. And so that was the backdrop for the perfume. We started with this green grassy sort of backdrop, and to suggest, and then a white floral aspect, and then just suggest the poisonous aspect of this black liquid that's delivered via chalice, because it was Socrates when he was, and in ancient Greece, the way it was used to execute condemned prisoners was that they had to drink from this chalice. So we were imagining this black liquid, this wicked black poison, and we had this idea, Christelle had the idea to render it as black vinyl. And we were like, that's going to be the poisonous aspect in this green field. And it's really an homage to a dominatrix. It's sadomasochism. So it's the black.
Like leather, or latex vinyl, something.
Exactly. Yeah. And the latex boots and the latex whip, whoosh, That's the wickedness that's pouring through the scene. And all of that is taking place. This bondage scene is taking place on a sumptuous bed of the nicest Madagascar vanilla. So it's a spicy bondage scene on a vanilla bed. So it's naughty. But at the same time, the vanilla is not just the bondage gear of the dominatrix. It's also vinyl records. It smells like a vinyl record, does it not? So it's an homage to this rock and roll or this techno you're playing with your naughty bedroom session. It's inherently naughty. Wait till you see the film. I've been wanting to shoot the film for 5 years. I have the songs selected. I have it cast. It's written. But, you know, just doing the films is so expensive and it takes so much time because we do them ourselves, you know, so I just do them when I can.
Yeah.
So it's coming soon. But anyway, when you see it, it's going to be badass.
No, for me, you know, I really love this one. I always say it smells like lubricant and latex or something. Condom even. I don't know.
Yeah, it does, exactly. You're absolutely right. That's very interesting. Yeah, so there is another sexual sort of innuendo embedded in this. So all of these perfumes in Les Potions Fatales are definitely loaded with sexual innuendo. Absolutely. This is quite by design. I wanted them to be naughty. I wanted to out Tom Ford. You know, and the funny thing is, we've worked with his perfumers before. As I told you, I worked with Rodrigo Flores Roux. I worked with Jan Vosnier, Charmelaia Maison Dieu, Khalees Becker. You know, so
yeah. So tell me something. Let's see. You have now. Okay, you have your Venoms. You have the, I don't know, like the gatekeeper or the way you can travel between the worlds, and now you're going to focus on the remedies. Am I correct? How many of these are you going to make?
Well, we have of the healing perfumes completed. We have one that's releasing next spring that's going to focus on the healing aspect of spending all day in bed. So it's a laundry scent. Yeah. And you know that feeling of like calling in sick, but you're not sick. You're just staying in bed because you need to lay in. And it's just like staying in bed in that morning sun all day in your pajamas and just, you know, eating fruit and just, you know, enjoying the breeze and just not worrying. And that's what it's about, you know? So, so that one's coming in the spring. We have another one and another one. So at least it will be, I hope, 5, you know, but we can do a few more as long as IFF wants to continue doing them. You know, it's really up to them, you know. So
okay. And then, you know, just I think to wrap all these ideas together is, I was telling them at the beginning something that I think you told me, but maybe I misunderstood it, or you can enlighten us. You told me that at the beginning of the project, you release all the perfumes at the same time, and in retrospective, you said, you know, that was maybe a mistake because they didn't have the time to actually be enjoyed separately.
Yeah. So okay, so the Poison Flower series, Les Potions Fatales, we released all 9 at the same time it was like September 2016. And, you know, remember, we worked on each of these for 2.5 years a piece. 9 different perfumers I worked with. Like each perfumer had their own poisonous flower. So it was a tremendous amount of work, resources, etc. When I released them, most people they just focused on 1 or 2 that they liked, and the rest threw in the garbage, even like as though they were trash worthy or something. And I was horrified, you know, because I'm like, no. And to be honest with you, I really thought Wolfsbane was the most interesting out of all of them. And that was the one that I entered into all the contests. But, you know, in the end, Poppy Soma, so Wolfsbane didn't get nominated for like best indie or anything, but Poppy Soma, which I didn't think was a winning material, won perfume extraordinaire. So it's kind of funny how things work like that. When you think something's going to be good, and then, and then we really thought Blood Flower was going to be a disaster, and it turned out our bestseller.
That's
so it goes to show, when you think something's going to sell, it doesn't. And then when you think it's going to be a disaster, so this is why I just don't even think about sales. All I try to do is honor the concept as close as I can, do the best ingredients I can, the best components, and I make it as amazing as possible, making sure that it's going to take you somewhere. Like, it's truly a work of art that you can get lost in. I want you to get lost in it, I want it to stand the test of time. I'm making monuments of smell,
Okay.
And remember too, that the films and the music I take as equally seriously, and I present them as the visual and the audio components of this art. So I definitely encourage your viewers to watch the films. They're only 2 minutes long. There's no dialogue, so anyone can understand them. And we write the music, so the music is as important. And I work with really interesting, like, electronic music composers. So they're kind of semi-famous. If you know that world and you look them up, you might be surprised with who I've worked with. So, but they like to work with me because I celebrate the creators. I don't tell them what to do. I say, here's the concept. Give me something that's going to be something to hang your hat on, something that something that you want to share with your mother, something that can go on your grave, let's win prizes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And then we don't stop until we're like, this is fucking amazing. Then we put it out. That's my MO. And that's how I win. So I've won 3 big perfume prizes, and I've been nominated for 6, So, I mean, I don't try to do it, but it's just nice that, like, hey, I'm honored. It's great.
Of course. And it's a reflection of what you do.
It boosts my confidence that I know I'm at least on the right road, because truth be told, Eduardo, when I was working on the poisons and when we released them, we really got trashed, Luca Turin, the famous reviewer, trashed my poisons. And I was really hurt by it, because I was like, man, we really worked hard on these. I didn't even present it to this guy, and he's just trashing them to be a smartass, He said of 𝗵𝗵𝗃, which went on to win Perfume Extraordinaire, I remind the viewers, beating 400 luxury perfumes, blindfolded, to be number 1. This guy said of them, 𝗵𝗵𝗃 is inconsequential. It has no consequence, What an arrogant turd. Anyway, who won Perfume Extraordinaire? Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. I always say, I think every nose is a world, and it's a very, very complicated art. You cannot be subjective. It's
well, you can be subjective, and I'll tell you how you can be subjective. You can be subjective in that it's a shit blend, or you could be subjective and critical. What I mean, subjectively critical in that the blend is awkward, or it's ugly, or it's sour, or it has a nauseating, unintended subharmonic accord, So that's how you can criticize it. Mine are technically flawless because we spend the friggin' time. So you can't criticize my perfumes for not being anything less than stellar, because I work with the best of the best of the best, and we take our time. If you think it's weird, it's just intentionally that way. It's just a twist on things, because we like to do twists. With the Hierophante, the whole perfume dries down in reverse. It starts off heavy, dank, and wet, and it becomes dry to suggest the rocket ascending to the stars, So we play with funny things. We always work with accords that are sometimes gross, because the Holy Spirit is in everything. So I've worked with blood accord. I've worked with semen accords. My semen accord fragrance won Best Indie for 6 cents. It's called Ascend. We've worked with vinyl, that's hemlock. We've worked with gasoline. It won Art and Olfactions Independent. So we like to elevate common things. I've elevated the common pine
Yeah.
to heavenly status, holy grail status with Forest of the Golden Dream. You know, that's the gist of Quartana. That's what we try to do. That's what we try to do. The perfumers love to work with me because I really celebrate. I make them a superstar. I put their work on a pedestal. And I say, do this work. Why did you become a perfumer? Remember why you became a perfumer and then create this, you know?
Amazing, amazing. That's amazing. You know, I was right now just sprayed blood flower, and I did get kind of a like cherry or something.
These
fruity.
are unintended subharmonics. Yeah, we don't really intend them, but they're there, and we like them, and so they're passable as far as I'm concerned. You know, the nice thing about blood flower is that it's actually certified clean, Sephora, and vegan.
Okay.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Joseph, I know it's very late there. I think you are 2 hours ahead of us or something.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm a night owl, so I'm happy to talk. You know, it's such a pleasure. You know, but if you want to wind it down, it's up to you. Want to keep going? It's up to you.
No. You know, I really love it. I think this is a collection you actually need to come and try it, because, as you said, it's something to read about it, but then you actually need to smell it, but even try it, because I think you said
must try it on the skin. Let me just tell Hector Herrera is asking where to buy in Los Angeles. We actually don't have any California stockists, but we're about to have finally an LA stockist, I hope within a month, at an organic spa called Cheeks, and they have 2 branches, one in LA and one in Pasadena. So that's going to be our first California stockist. The thing is, they're only going to carry our clean perfume. So they're only going to carry, to start, Wolfsbane and Blood Flower. Sorry to give them a shout, but that's the only way they can get it. But they should be buying it from My Scent Journey in Mexico City.
If you're in Mexico, yes, of course. But in the United States, no. But I mean, you have your own, your website, right? You can,
yes, and of course in America, to those who want to just buy online, because we actually have a good deal to try it, and then you can buy it from My Scent Journey in Mexico. If you know, we have completely reimbursable discovery sets. So if you buy our Magic Garden set, it's $58. But you get 9 vials, 2 mils a piece. It's 18 mils for $58. Normally, if you want to just buy them individually, they're like $120, something like this, but it's only $58. We try to keep it really affordable. And then you get a $50 promo code back, which you can spend towards an upgrade of your choice, towards a full size. You get $50 reimbursed. So it's a very fair deal. So whether or not you decide to get a full-size bottle, it's risk-free trying, really. If you think like, oh, I might like Blood Flower, or I think I'm into like, you must try it. You might be surprised with which ones also are good on the skin, because people always tell me they think they're going to get this one, and then they wind up buying that other one because their friend is like, oh my God, that one, I want to like jump on you and just shred you and eat you because you, you know, that kind of reaction. The first time I wore Wolfsbane, when we finished it, Eduardo, I wore it to this techno club in New York called Output. It had a roof, an outdoor roof. And I wore it in the summer, in like July of like 2015 or something, maybe 2016. I got mobbed by like 6 people all at once. They're like, what's this perfume? I need your phone number. There, you know, like one was like trying to jump on me. One's like, you know, and I'm like, oh, you know, yeah. It's really, and by the way, one last thing I want to share with you and your viewers is that the fragrance that most blew my mind when I was hosting nightclubs in my formative years of 18, 19, 20, this is like 1994, 1995, 1996 in New York City. I smelled Angel from Thierry Mugler for the first time.
Okay.
And that perfume changed everything for me. It had just come out. Some drag queen was wearing it, walked by me with her attitude. I got all the pageantry, all of the drama. all of it at once, all the deep, dark, pulsing house music. And I got it. I was just like, oh my God, perfume is my future. I really understood it. In that moment on, I only wanted to create gourmand and gourmand adjacent perfume. So every single Quartana is kind of gourmandy because they're all a little bit of a nod to Angel. They're all a new smell. They're all a gestalt. I always try to create new combinations you've never smelled before. This is really the key gist of Quartana. New beams of smell. Soleil Invisible definitely epitomizes it because it's like a beam of sunlight cutting through this black smoke with little nuances of tangerine, of lychee, of passion fruit, of wood, of cypress, of a vanilla, of vetiver, of Sichuan pepper, you know. It's a really nice nighttime summer cocktail fragrance. And the armoise oil has a cooling effect. It has that little, that's fresh sage aspect. So you can wear it in the summer and in the hot weather like this, and it's nice. It works. Don't be afraid to wear. The vetiver is cooling too. The smoke as well. So,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
Point
We
that
will
out.
have to test it now that it's very hot here.
Yeah. See how it is. All of mine are year round though, safely. Although like obviously they lean into certain seasons better and worse, and certain genders better. They're all unisex too, I may add. So,
okay.
And okay, Ulysses Murillo is saying what reimbursable means. Yes, you can take the money you spent on the discovery set and apply it towards a full-size bottle. So it almost makes the discovery set free if you're really seriously thinking about buying, you know. And all mine are blind buyable for sure. Definitely Poppy Soma because it won Perfume Extraordinaire, and definitely 𝗍𝗏𝗏 because it won the Art and Olfaction Independent. So I think you can always eBay them and get your money back, especially in Mexico because no one has them down there. Eduardo is the first to be stocking my house, you know, south of the border. For that matter, anywhere south of Texas, you know. So we don't have anyone in like Brazil.
You know, try them. They are very different.
They're romantic because guess what? Sicilians like me and Mexicans, we got the same cultural thing, you know, Baroque, you know, richness, hot weather, you know, we're celebratory, we're warm people, you know.
Joseph, tell us, I don't know if you could give us maybe a hint or something of what's coming. I know you talk about one of re-edition of something of your
so well, the next healing one's coming, and again it's I don't have the name yet, but it's done, and it's an homage to the healing power of all day in bed.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yes.
So that's coming in the spring. And then our reissue of Poppy Soma, our Perfume Extraordinaire award winner, that's an homage to chasing the dragon, or opium, the opium experience in a hot, sweaty Chinatown brothel. That's coming in October, November. I expect that Eduardo will have it in my Symphony. And then after that, we're doing the reissues. We're continuing the reissues in this new packaging and clean formulation of Venetian Belladonna. The clean version's coming, and the clean version of Mandrake, and then Digitalis. But Digitalis is also not clean. It's IFRA and it's vegan, but it's not Sephora clean.
Okay. Why don't you explain us a bit to all the guys that are here? What do you mean by clean?
Okay, so clean means it has absolutely nothing cancer causing or anything known to cause any kind of harmful anything in any form. IFRA certified perfumes are known to be harmless, and all of my perfumes are IFRA certified. They're compliant, I should say. We adhere very strictly and very updated, and we reformulate to make sure that we're legal everywhere. We're legal everywhere. So IFRA basically means that provided you follow dosage, nothing's going to happen to you. There's nothing harmful. Although in high doses, if you overspray, down the road, there's a minuscule chance you could get, you know, long-term something, but no one has ever died from perfume that we know of, you know, we're aware of.
We
So,
know.
but if you really are adamant about being 100% clean and not introducing any of these slight bits of pesticide or aroma molecules, then you have another category of formulation. So you have IFRA, means they're legal and they won't cause you harm, provided the dosage is respected. Then the next category is Sephora Clean, which is now 7 of the 9 of my poisonous florals are actually Sephora Clean, which means provided you respect the dosage, there's nothing harmful in them in terms of phthalates, preservatives. Mostly what we stripped out were aroma molecules that extend the life of certain notes. Like citrus notes, for example, it's really hard to get them to last a long time without using fixatives. And fixatives sometimes don't adhere to IFRA clean schedules. So those are the main things. So it requires a total reformulation. So basically, once we reformulated all of the poisonous fluids, which we did, and we actually already started to re-release in terms of the liquids a year and a half ago, it took a year and a half to reformulate them before I was happy with them. And I said to 𝗵𝗆, if these are not 99% adherent to what they smelled like, we're just not going to put them out in clean formulation. They'll just stay as they are. But to my surprise, the chemists did a bang-up job, and these are extraordinary. So they are actually now. So what's amazing is we're the only American indie fragrance house that has Sephora Clean offerings, and that's multi-award winning. And that does super unique stuff. We're not like just basic bitches up here, you know, that does like a rose perfume. You know, it's like, if you want a rose perfume, go to Jo Malone. We do really compulated. Sorry, I'm getting tired now. I'm mincing my word. We do really complex, meaningful formulae that give you delight, you know, and then also reveal themselves over long periods of time, you know. My formulae like peak, they tease, you know, and again, they really smell different on everyone. So you don't have to worry about, with my formulae, ever showing up at a cocktail party and smelling like someone else. Because those particular perfumes are wearing you, but you wear my perfumes, you know, because you blend with them. That's really important. A lot of the cheaper ones that you rely on synthetics, they all smell the same for that sake of the consistency. We don't get hung up on that. And so I sometimes get criticized, especially with like the naturally inspired ones, Soleil Invisible and Forest of the Golden Dream, that they are inconsistent, but that's the fucking point. Okay. They're natural. It's a little unpredictable, and they might not be the right prescription for you. If they don't, move on to the next perfume. If they vibrate with you, 1 + 1 is going to make 7. Okay. It's greater than the sum of the parts. That's the magic. That's the transmutation of shit into gold, which is what these perfumes do. That's it, you know?
Absolutely. That, you know, and it's amazing that you have those 2 things, you know, well, 3 things, you know. You do Venoms, but they are certified clean, but they also win awards.
Ironically, yes.
It's amazing.
As
Well,
you can see, we're having a lot of fun with the chemistry of it, you know.
let's
I have an
say
interesting question from Chris Hernandez here. Ciao, Chris. If you would recommend one fragrance to start getting to know the Ippotion Fatale. Oh, one that's sort of exemplary. Really, all of them exemplified, but I would say Lily of the Valley birthed the collection, because seeing that episode of Breaking Bad inspired the idea of having the collection in the first place. So Lily of the Valley was like the sort of kernel. It's the sort of first perfume of Les Potions Fatales. Venetian Belladonna, I think, is the most exemplifying in terms of how how much fun we have with the chemistry, because that perfume changes 3 times and it reflects the witch changing her seduction techniques 3 times as she seduces you before burning you with her hellfire, which we accomplish through the styrax pyrogene. As it gets more strong and strong, it gets the hellfire gets hotter and hotter. And then 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧 won a blindfold prize, and so no one knew what that one was about. So it definitely exemplifies also Les Passions Fatales in the sense that it won a blindfold prize. But then I would say Wolfsbane or Bloodflower are more my favorites because they're the most conceptually what I was thinking about, in that they're kind of these like cinematic highlights reel in my mind's eye of the perfumes. So there you have it, Chris. It's best to try the discovery sets and just try them all. It's really worth it for $58. It's really worth it.
That would be the summer of what you said. It's like, try all of them.
Yeah, wouldn't you say, Eduardo? I mean, you've tried them on the skin. Yeah. I mean, they all do really come to life, and not not to simp or plug them, but I mean, that's the God's honest truth. And I don't want you to wear them if they don't work on you. I really want you to listen, my perfumes will launch you into next level, like smelling amazing. And, people like being like, stop everything. What the hell are you, next level style game. I worked in high fashion for 15 years. I got Ralph Simons, the current head of Prada, started in America. So I know high fashion. I used to judge high fashion contests in Europe. And so I know how to make luxury perfumes and luxury products that vibrate. Let me promise you, And the reason I'm saying that is just get excited with my stuff, because they're going to take you to a very special place. Try them all on is my point. Don't try the ones that don't work on you. Try the ones that do vibrate with you, because they're next level. And they're the ones that are going to that's the point of wearing them, Yeah.
Of course.
Get all of them. Primal Scent is right.
Yeah. Get all of them. Yeah. So, of course, Rob, Primal Scent, his name is Rob. He's a friend of mine. You need to try them all. And just to be clear, here on the boutique, we only have the new presentations. So we have
which we decided exactly. We're doing that quite on purpose.
We have Bloodflower. We have Hemlock. Of course, we have Forest of the Golden Dream. And I don't have the box here, but we have the new Soleil.
I didn't send you the Soleil Invisible box. I'm so sorry. I don't know how.
Don't worry. But of course, if you want to try something that maybe we don't have, let me know, and I don't know, we can have some of those here. The idea
I'm enjoying the rollout. So you'll have 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗧 next, clearly, which is a wonderful one to have since it's a big award winner. That's coming in October. I think either at the same time or concurrently, we're going to release Belladonna, Venetian Belladonna, the new carnation of it, and then probably Mandrake or Digitalis. I don't know yet. We'll see. Those are the next. And then, of course, in the spring will be the next healing one, the next 𝗲 Potions d'Antelchier. I can't wait for you guys to smell, because it's so weird. This fresh laundry one is such a portal to another dimension. It's so bizarre and so cool and bizarre. Yeah. So in a good way. By bizarre, I mean good bizarre, So
yeah, I'm smelling here the Golden of the Forest Dream and the Invisible. It's so I hate French. I can't say it.
Yeah, Soleil Invisible, or just say Invisible Sun, because it's really what it should have been called. They couldn't call it that.
And for the summer here or the heat, I've been recommending Forest of the Golden Dream, because I say it's woody, but it's green, it's piney, fresh.
It's cool because of the eucalyptus.
But I have to say, this thing is very strong. Forest of the Golden Dream it's one of that it jumps a lot. It's like At least for me, it's like
Oh, very
very, very,
nice. That's interesting that it has a strong sillage on you. Okay.
yes,
By the way,
yes.
let me ask you, how is the 𝗂𝗨𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 feedback now that I've really put it into the wild, because I only tested it on about 20 people, no, 32 people to be precise when we finished it, because I wanted at least a statistically significant number.
For me, I was, to be honest, I was expecting something very different because, you know, you said the lychee, you said, you know, like, I imagine like yellowish, orange, fruity or something, and maybe some woods. But then I sprayed it and I was like, oh my God, this is very smoky, resinous, brown. For me, the color would be brown.
Yeah, exactly. Because what it is, it's a beam of sunlight penetrating through the night or the late morning, and the chaos of the darkness.
Okay.
So it's two metaphors. It's not just like the night sky, the morning sun beaming through the night sky. It's also the morning sun beaming through the chaos of smoke and the dark times we're living in. It's both of these, because the sun always rises in the morning. Hope always returns. That's what we have to remember, you know? And so I wanted it to hold. I was telling Christina Christie, the perfumer, we were very inspired by ombre leather from Tom Ford and how it holds that leather the whole time. So I wanted this perfume, Soleil Invisible, to be quite linear in that it holds the beam of light, because that's what it is. It's holding that sunlight, you know, because that's your hope. You're trying to hold on to it as it's beaming down on you. And where the other ingredients come in, they're more supporting, and they become more nuances in that beam of light and in the smoke. So they're more like flecks of their presence instead of features, you know?
I would have to, you know, I would love.
But they reveal themselves, by the way, on different people in different ways. So case in point.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. I want to try this on Anna, my wife, because
definitely. Because on female skin, it's way more gourmand, and the vanilla comes out a lot more. On male skin, I'm noticing it's a lot more either spiced, or the Sichuan pepper is a lot stronger, or a lot more wood. It's a lot more wood-centric on male musky skin. So on me, I'm kind of in the middle. So on me, it's a smoky citrus gourmand. It's really interesting. And so
my skin, I don't get nothing gourmand, nothing, not even this. So
exactly what I notice on some men, there's no vanilla, but on other guys, one of my male friends, I only got the rose. There's actually rose as a supporting note in there. Yeah, rose essential for life and L&R. Really nice rose for that matter. It's really background. On him, I got the rose and the vanilla. So that's really weird. On a female friend of mine, I got the cardamom and the vanilla. So it was very cafe latte or like a chai on her. Okay. Very interesting. On her, it was fabulous. On my wife, it's the smoke and the orange and the vanilla. So it's kind of a smoky creamsicle on her, you know? Yes, Maria, I love my work. I literally live for my work. Literally.
In me, I get a bit of even like cumin. I don't know why.
Yes. Okay. So you're on a few people, it's getting that cumin. I did not intend that. I did not intend that. So I would say it's not wearing as I intended it on you. So if to the folks at home who try Soleil Invisible, if it starts to be sour or cuminy, it's not working. It's the wrong prescription. So
but you know, I do like it. I do like it.
It works on you and you're digging it and it's vibrating, all the more power for you, you know? You know who told me also?
Now I'm intrigued in smelling what you actually thought about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, I wanted everyone's sunshine experience to be a little bit their own, a little bit nuanced, right?
Yeah.
That's fine perfumery for you. If it smells the friggin' same on everybody, well, then it's not really fine perfumery. It's not really a unique experience, you know?
Yeah.
So that's important. Anyway, so that's what it is. Everyone gets their own little healing sunbeam, you know? So I would love for people to give me feedback about which way it's leaning on you, and let's see in the end, you know.
Okay.
But I definitely think it's, so far statistically, I'm finding it to be better on more boyish men, and then on women. So yeah, and so
We will have to try it.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm seeing this question that I think it's interesting. Let's see what you think about it.
Yeah. What would be the top most respectable fragrances besides yours? In other words, the one fragrances that I admire, I guess you mean?
Or that you like
Oh,
besides
I
you.
like. Okay. Well, we've already talked about my love affair for Angel from Mugler, you know.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, in this day and age, I wouldn't wear it. I think it's a bit passé. I hate to say it, you know. I think wear it with caution, because, you know, if you're sensitive to fashion cycles, it's not fresh anymore, you know. But that's definitely one that's up there. One of my all-time favorites was called Unleaded by 𝗃𝗀𝗄𝗃, and this is from the early mid 90s. It smells like gasoline.
Okay.
𝗃𝗀𝗄𝗃 was actually quite an homage to Unleaded from 𝗃𝗀𝗄𝗃. I was wearing Unleaded from 𝗃𝗀𝗄𝗃 in the 90s, and it went out of print forever. And I was like, I would love to do a gasoline scent, you know, like a proper gasoline scent, because all the gasoline scents out there are really motor oil scents. I'm a gearhead because my father's an auto mechanic, and so I got raised around cars, and he races Corvettes. You know, he's a drag racer, and so I know the smells. And so what I was really pounding into 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's head, as I was like, it has to smell like benzina or petrol, not oleo, you know, not motor oil. There's a big difference, you know. And so 𝗃𝗏𝗏 Parfum did a really great perfume called Petroleum that actually smells like motor oil, not gasoline.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Gerald, and he comped me a bottle years ago because I loved it, and I was like, oh my god, I love this perfume. He gave me a bottle, and I'm grateful for that. But I use it as an example of what not to, you know, Luca should not, because I wanted to smell like that crisp when you're at the gas pump, and you know what it sounds like. It's crisp, you know. There's something succulent about it. It's definitely not motor oil, though. It's not that black icky stuff, you know. But totally different. It's like it's pretty much, it's like it kind of has like a benzene kind of quality about it. It's like chemicals, you know, and also like decayed organic matter, basically. So, but in any event, you know, we really go for reality with the Accords, you know, in every case, you know, the blood one, and it's one of our hallmarks. Oh, wait, back to my top 5. So yeah, I would say, let's see, what else? It's blown my mind. There's a lot, you know. Oh Lord.
Don't worry. You said two.
Think about it, you know, like, because it's a great many. You know, there was a fragrance that someone did, which is smelled, and I can't remember the brand name. I smelled it at Oswald years ago. It smelled like a bleached shirt. It's genius, and that's all it was. It just smelled like a clean, freshly ironed shirt, and I was like, "That's so cool." I love it as a concept. Oh, a lot of the Comme des Garçons I'm indebted to for inspiration. Comme des Garçons number 2, I wore it. Comme des Garçons Red, I really loved. It was a cinnamon fragrance from like 95. It was in a red bottle, but this was definitely one of my top ones. Let's see, another. I really like the original Opium. I think it's magnificent, you know, and I wanted to do an homage my own interpretation of that magnificent plant, which I did with 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗏.
Yeah.
But I would say, though, it's really, I like gourmands. I'm really a sucker for gourmand. That's what I try to create. I think there's very few in the market that are really incredible. So that's what I really try to populate, you know. So if anyone wants to recommend any fabulous gourmands, I don't like sweet gourmands, by the way. I like the non-sweet ones. And that's what I try to create, is non-sweet gourmands. You know, I think they're a lot more sophisticated and challenging. In fact, the best criticism I got for Soleil Invisible so far is that it's a semi-savory perfume. It's a semi-savory gourmand. It's like,
yeah, I understand that.
I like that. I like that. You know, I wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to make a savory fragrance, but, you know, it is true. It landed there, and that's a really nice place, you know. So,
you know, now that you say a gourmand that it's not sweet, and I think you should try, there's a brand called Jérôme Studio from...
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Try Healing Berry. I think
Healing Berry. I love the idea already. It's fantastic.
It's an amazing blueberry scent, and
love blueberry.
It's like berries with something savory, like carrot kind of iris.
Okay. Yeah.
So you get the berries, but you know, I love it because he in fact he says like something, every time you smell these kind of berries in perfumes, they smell like cotton candy or like
right, exactly. Yeah.
It's not the real thing. And
yes.
he tried to do the real thing, and he put this kind of carrot whitish, I don't know how to explain it. You should try it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And that's really hard to do. And to some extent, we accomplished this with 𝗷𝗚 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝗪𝗏, which was the first ever release of my other fragrance brand called 𝗃∗ This was done actually by a Brazilian perfumer named Joachim Carell. I think it's been so long. Forgive me, I'm forgetting his name. But we had some berries in the heart, and it was non-sweet. He accomplished this, and we thought it was very, and I definitely, certainly with all the perfumes I've done, it's kind of followed this subconsciously, what we created with 𝗷𝗚 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝗪𝗏 as a sort of, you know, so I definitely want to smell that because I really appreciate it. It's also really hard to do, you know, because it can fall apart really fast, and it's really hard to get all the other harmonies quite perfect, you know. And by the way, with our perfumes, we really try to go with a consistent harmony where you don't smell the individual ones, you know. I like them to be blending perfectly. And again, trying to create an all new like experience, an all new scent like experience. Yeah, that no one's ever seen before. For someone who does someone who loves leather scents, which one would you say is the heaviest, most leather and kind fragrance of yours? Well, including 𝗃∗. Let me think about it. For Quartana, it's probably 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 because it's so suede-y, you know, and it's really, or mandrake, because mandrake is basically a rich red fruit soaked in suede.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it's as suede-y as 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is leather and suede. Because it's 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is gasoline and nutmeg on the top, and then smoky leather, like fire and smoky leather in the middle, and suede. And then on the bottom is benzoin, frankincense, and vetiver. And so it's kind of like a smoky caramel on the bottom. But it's still the leather is retained there the whole time, so it kind of smells like your leather jacket is kind of smoking with some nutmeg and some gasoline and some fire, and then a little bit of some sweet vanilla caramel, you know. it's really fabulous. It's really fabulous. You got to smell it, you know. Which one is beast mode? Wolfsbane 100%. And actually, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 can be, but I think Wolfsbane, I was imagining it being so psychedelic that, okay, so quick little brief with let me just I'll hold it up while I'm talking about wolfsbane. So wolfsbane as a poison was used to kill wolves. Basically, hunters would dip arrow tips into wolfsbane and fire the poisoned arrows at wolves, and it would kill the wolves. And it was also used for warfare. So warriors would shoot poisoned arrow tips at other warriors. So we were inspired by the ferocity of the wolf, the rage of the warrior, and the bravery of the hunter. And we wanted this to be so like with its psychedelic aspect of the absinthe, that we kind of made it like a beast mode fuck me scent, you know, like it's really like it's so ferocious as to be psychedelic. That's literally the brief, you know. And so yeah.
that could be okay. Perfect. Let's see. Let me see if I have another question here. I think we have all of them. Get all of them. Yes, of course. You need to try them all. Let's see. Okay. No. I think, people are being, quite precise with their questions about,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. This is
So
a long question. I like precision. I like the tough ones too. So
yes. Well, to wrap things up, and I think could be a very difficult question, and I know they tried to ask you before, but if you have to pick one, I know it's not your favorite, but and for me, let me do this introduction. Maybe this could help. Um, I know they are all your babies, but I think perfumes, just like fashion, it's a cyclic thing. So if I ask you this question maybe 3 years ago, your answer would be different.
yeah.
Right now, what would you say if you have to choose from one of your venoms? And I know you only have two remedies, but if you have to choose one of each, what would you say right now?
For wearing in like me wearing in the hot weather, or just like what I'm most proud of as like, hey,
Don't try to over. No.
okay.
Top of mind.
Okay, let's say for the poisons, let's just say blood flower, because I think that it's such a conversation starter. I mean, it's searing. It's like the searing cold knife, this searing cold metal knife cutting through this like rich, boozy, bloody, hazy red mood. It's really interesting. And remember, I was imagining what a vampire was imagining when he's drinking your blood. And I was imagining that he was tasting your blood as tasting like black sambuca.
Okay.
This dessert liqueur, So that's how it all sort of came together, So it's really exemplary of Quartana in terms of like how we think about things, our crazy way of thinking. And then also how, again, there's salvation embedded in that it's seemingly gothic and so, scary. And it's supposed to be intimidating because, again, the whole point behind the poisonous flowers was that, hey, I look pretty, but I'm deadly and dangerous. So don't mess with me, It's like,
Yeah.
But I think that, blood flower, it's really fascinating in that Alexandra Carlin really got the brief, and we had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, it's super cool. But again, it brings you to a place of salvation because it's finding yourself in purgatory, and then from purgatory seeing that light, and flying up there, basically. Watch the short film. I should leave the link. You guys will really have a kick out of the short film of Blood
I have
Flower.
it here. Let me see. Anna put it a while ago. Let me see.
Okay, it's someone cool. Someone nice that someone posted.
Here it is. Unfortunately, it's not. You cannot click it.
Yeah, of course, it's okay. It's okay.
Let me
But,
see if this is just an experiment. Let me see if I can share
oh,
like
great.
a
If you click
screen.
it and then share your screen, it might load
That could
up.
be, I don't know. Let me see. Um, honestly, I've never done this.
Yeah, yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay. A ver. So I do have the video here, but let me put it pause.
Oh,
And
hold this up in the
let me
meanwhile.
go
Viewers.
here and see if I can. Let me see here. So if I switch, I don't know if I can do this. Let me see. How can I share?
I saw there was a button that says share your screen. I think it's under settings or something, or definitely there was a way.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to check if I can.
I just don't remember where I saw it, but I definitely saw the share screen.
I don't know if you are seeing
There you
this.
go. Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay, let me.
Yep. There's our model. So she wakes up in purgatory. She's like, where am I? This was actually our makeup artist. She's a friend of mine. She's a friend of mine, and I cast her because she's got a butterfly neck tattoo. And remember the importance of the mythology of the monarch caterpillar transforming to the monarch butterfly?
Yeah.
And the butterfly then flying away. So here's the gothic bit, you know. And this is actually me off camera dumping theatrical blood onto her. We had one take to get this right, you know, because the makeup's ruined and the whole outfit's ruined. And so we're like, please get it right, you know, it's camera girl, you know. And so Erin's having her blood shower right here, you know. And this is the idea of casting off the physical body. It's casting off the body. And now she experiences the monarch caterpillar. She's becoming one. She's impregnated with the monarch caterpillar. She sees the way out. She sees the light of the other side. By becoming the butterfly, she can go into heaven. So she's celebrating this mythology of getting into heaven because the blood flower can bring you from, and now she's reborn as the butterfly, the
Okay.
goddess of the butterflies.
How long did you do this? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, we filmed this one in an afternoon back in 20. We filmed it before we released it, so it was probably early 2016. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And a friend of mine did the music. It's a band in LA called The Present Moment. A guy named Scott. He's a very legit like dark wave producer, really cool dude. Fan. He actually likes my Digitalis. But he gave me the song. I mean, we couldn't hear it, but the song is called 23. And 23 in numerology is all about the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. So it was a perfect name too, because it's about the butterfly transforming from the caterpillar, you know, the end of one cycle, the beginning of a new cycle, or breaking out of purgatory and getting into heaven. Or if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day, remember
Yeah.
how it repeats? And the way he breaks out of that vicious cycle is because he becomes enlightened. He learns that being good to people is the way to get out of that vicious cycle. It's seeing a glimpse of heaven, but that's the glimpse of heaven that you see and that the model saw in the Bloodflower film. And then she can transform into the butterfly and fly away into heaven. 𝗃𝗡𝗄𝗃. So you see, so it's seemingly gloom and doom, but there's salvation baked into the concept and the film and the whole presentation of it. It's a blessing. We here at Quartana are all about good tidings and blessings, you know. No dark stuff.
No, amazing, amazing. Well, Joseph, I really love the concept of everything that you do. The perfumes, the idea behind them, the smell. It's not just like
Panty droppers.
yeah, nah, but not just that, because
Not just that. I don't want to even do anything
a
nearly
good
like
story,
it.
you can cook it up, but then you need to manifestate it in something that actually makes sense in what you are trying to convey. So I think it's
Yeah, our
very
perfumes have purpose, we really think about what we want them to do for you. There's a great many benefits. It's not just smelling nice. It's not just, seducing at the club. It's about taking your mind to places of inspiration and hope, especially with the latter three, with the healing ones, but as well with the poisons. The poisons too, a reminder that you can, seduce and destroy men, but also teach them how to be graceful. You can be a graceful bitch, So,
yeah.
um, uh, is that Erin Parsons? No, I have to
No,
officially say it's not Erin Parsons.
I don't
Looks
know who.
exactly like her though. Yeah, we get that
Uh,
all the time. Thank you,
yeah.
Ulysses. That's kind of you to say. I just actually my perfumers are artists. I'm just trying to um just justify these beautiful flowers. That's all. Gifts of life, That's all. Celebrate them. Yeah.
Perfect.
Wait, give you a chance to see these magical flowers in ways you might not ordinarily see. One other thing that was really talking about the old packaging, Eduardo, one thing that really also inspired us was the concept of aposematism in poisonous flowers. You know what this is?
No.
Aposematism is when a poisonous thing, a poisonous organism, communicates that it's poisonous through bright colored skin or bold patterned skin.
Like the
So,
frogs. Yeah.
exactly. An orange frog or a snake with a very bright pattern or a skunk, actually, for that matter. That's an example of aposematism. So, a bug that's poisonous can walk on the forest floor without worrying about a bird swooping down and eating it because it's poisonous.
Yeah.
Think about the power in that. That's a badass flex, So we were very inspired by the concept of aposematism, of showing off that you're poisonous. You
Okay.
get it? So it's really powerful. It's really cool, right? So it's fun. But that was definitely one of the things. I was really, really concerned with giving power to marginalized, especially women in this day and age. I wanted to empower lots of women. That was one of
Okay.
my, yeah. Oh,
No,
fun
no.
stuff. Yeah.
Joseph, I think with you we would need a lot more time. Obviously, I'm going to invite
Hey,
you
anytime.
very soon to maybe when you launch the new one, we could do this another time.
Yeah,
Uh,
it would be my pleasure.
but I would say, thank you very much for the time that you have. I'm checking that we are almost at the 2 hours and 20 minutes mark.
Yeah.
So it's a long,
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
video. It's
This is awesome.
amazing.
So much fun. I hope you had a good time. I had a great time.
Of course.
Time flies when you're having fun. I didn't feel like 2.5 hours at all.
And
So.
time flies when you're talking about the things that you like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's pleasure. It's not work, it's pleasure. What I do is not work. Every day I work 16 hours, 7 days a week. I don't have any time off, just by the way. I work like a dog for 7 years. It's a passion project. And the reason is because it doesn't feel like work, I love what I do. Every second I wake up and I love what I do. So to all those that also are fans of mine, thank you. You are blessed. I'm so happy to share with you. I'm so happy to and thank you for the support, Eduardo. I'm blessed to be showcased in your beautiful temple.
Thank you.
These masterpieces of scent. I'm honored, absolutely honored. I want to come down. I'm going to be coming down to Mexico City very soon. I promise. Maybe we can do a live or a cocktail or something like this. I have so many friends down there, so it's time. And thank you to all the people that were watching. Please try them out. if you're a fan of mine, please review my work on Fragrantica or Base Notes. It really helps us because it helps share the world with our work and showing to the other people that will appreciate our work that we keep it real, you know? So review them, please. Tell the world how awesome you think they are. We have some haters out there too, so, you know, kind of annoying. Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know,
Awesome.
so I enjoy my perfumes, everyone. Thanks for watching. Eduardo, you are a scholar and a gentleman, and it's truly a blessing again to have spent this 2.5 hours of time with you. We've been looking forward to this. Without further ado, with no other questions, I'll leave you to it, and I look forward to chatting with you and coming back on the show and then visiting the store in the near future.
Of course. Yeah. And you know, you need to come here to Mexico the 16th and 17th of November to make sense. I think people can, you know, actually, and you know, you can take some time to
wait. I'm releasing 𝗵𝗶𝘂𝗧𝗏 then.
Oh,
the re-release, it would really be a good idea. I mean, hey, I'll bring the trophy down too, you know.
You know, you could, you know, in fact, why don't you showcase it here in Mexen? You will be releasing it.
That could be cool. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah. We may go to Pitti Fragranza in September. That's going to be the only travel, though. You know, if you happen to go there, and any of your viewers are going to Florence, we may show off Soleil Invisible. Actually, the Italian market hasn't seen any of our new stuff, so Europe, for that matter, hasn't seen our new stuff. So anyway, that's the next steps. But Eduardo, it's really a pleasure. I have to go back to work a little bit. Ugh, I can't believe it. I have like a half hour more work. So this is my life. Anyway,
yeah,
really been a pleasure, amigo. Muchas gracias. Thank you very, very, very much. I hope I didn't butcher Spanish too badly.
No. Perfect. It's perfect. Thank you very much for the time, and we will see you shortly in another episode of these live streams.
I hope so. All right. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone who stuck around. Appreciate it. Salud.
Bye. Señores, muchísimas gracias a todos los que han estado presentes estas 2 horas y 20 minutos. Me parece que todo lo que nos ha platicado Joseph es increíble. Como lo vieron, es un artista que, más allá de tener una marca de perfumes, es todo un concepto, es toda esta idea detrás de los perfumes que aparte van un poquito unidos con lo que ha vivido, en fin. Entonces a mí me parece algo increíble. Es un proyecto que vale mucho la pena que conozcan. Concuerdo con él, es un proyecto que tienes que probar en piel, así que obviamente los invitamos a que vengan a la boutique para que los vengan, los prueben. Yo sí se los puedo decir, a mí me pasó muchísimo. No es una marca que te puedas ir por las notas, o sea, te metes a Fragrantica, ves las notas y vas a decir, ok, por ejemplo, te digo, pues dice que tiene lichy, que tiene por ahí maracuyá, y yo me fui con una cosa completamente distinta. No, señores, bueno, a mí, mínimo en mí, esto es ahumado, madera, es otra cosa, entonces sí vale mucho la pena que lo pruebes. Y repito, próximo, o sea, poco a poco vamos a ir trayendo los demás perfumes conforme los vaya lanzando, y justamente que puedan tener el chance de conocer cada uno de ellos y darles este espacio, ¿no? Oye, ya probé Hierophante, igual no fue lo mío, perfecto. Cuando venga el otro, lo pruebas y vas viendo. Yo he encontrado cosas así muy interesantes. Y pues bueno, ya saben que los proyectos que tenemos tratan de ofrecer cosas distintas, una visión distinta de la perfumería. Y yo la verdad es que respeto mucho lo que ha hecho Joseph, porque ya lleva muchos años haciéndolo. Esto no es un tema trending o de nuevo, de decir, ahorita está de moda hacer perfumes. No, espérame, compadre. Ya lleva muchos años haciéndolo, y además hay varios premios detrás de él que lo respaldan. Justamente estas pruebas en donde se ponen más de 400 perfumes y los jueces los prueban sin saber qué diablos estás probando. Es una cata ciega, masiva, como la que hacemos Ana y yo, y de ahí consigues un ganador. Eso a mí me parece increíble. Pues señores, ya veo que es un poquito tarde, obviamente ya nos vamos a despedir, pero agradecemos muchísimo el tiempo que han estado con nosotros. Ya saben, cualquier duda, comentario, cuestión que quieran checar, me lo dejan ahí en los comentarios. Pues no sé, miren, estaba viendo aquí uno. Extraordinaria entrevista por estar en Cozumel, compras ciegas, me llevaré la meditación a estas horas. Yo ahorita traigo aquí el de Golden Dream, esta cosa está bien fuerte. Sí, traes el bosque aquí en el brazo. Pero sí, bueno, ya tendrán ustedes que ver qué tal. También, pues muchas gracias a Ana, que ha estado atrás tratando de responder algunos comentarios, poniendo preguntas. Entonces, pues, sin más preámbulo, Ana, tú cierras por allá, ¿qué hacemos? Dice Ana que se le acabó la pila de su compu, entonces, bueno, se despide por acá. Pero bueno, señores, nos vemos después. Cuídense. Bye.